Welcome to the Whole Athlete Podcast, where we focus on discussing topics to help you become a fat burner, optimize health, and improve performance in life and sports. Transform the whole you from the inside out with the WHOLESTIC Method. Let's dive in. Here's your host, Debbie Potts.
Hey guys, it's Debbie Potts, and I'm doing a special edition of the Whole Athlete Podcast to talk about the 5-day Kion Fasting Challenge that we're doing January 6th to January 10th. And you can sign up on getkion.com/fasting and sign up for this free challenge that Kion is running for the second annual 5-day fast. So you can really learn a lot in a 5-day fast about yourself, and they'll keep giving you daily emails to learn more about fasting benefits, which type of fast is best for you, what actually breaks your fast, and how to get the most out of those 5 days. Also, I'm running my 5-day, the WHOLESTIC Method Jumpstart Challenge that same week, and then we progress into my phase 2 21-day sugar detox and digestion repair, and finish up with phase 3 transition into real life. How do I keep doing this without dieting and making this new lifestyle sustainable? So the WHOLESTIC Method coaching program that I run is phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3 for a 30-day program, or you can just do the 5-day program, which will be great to overlap with Kion and really learn about not just how to train your body to start burning fat and ketones when you're fasting, intermittent fasting, and learning how to do a 1 meal a day during the week and having 2 meals a day on the weekends, and knowing that you don't need to eat so many times a day for most people. So we can look at, different chronic fatigue issues, blood sugar instability, mitochondria dysfunction, all these different things that contribute to our inability to burn fat and to really improve performance and longevity. Fasting really gives you that cell autophagy. And as we dive more into mitochondria dysfunction, a lot of it is the cell death of mitochondria and how to rebuild new mitochondria that are stronger and more resilient. And we're going to do a lot of podcasts on that in the new year, because that is my fascination and interest in really how to improve or biohack your own performance longevity with mitochondria optimization, which is a lot of stuff we talked about over the years. And a lot of it is hormetic stressors. So good stress, not the chronic stressors, and really working, as I do in my one-on-one health coaching program, how to optimize your overall health, the whole you, with optimizing the function of every cell in your body, because every cell makes up into tissues, which makes into organs and body systems, and the whole you is based on cells. So if we don't start working on our cells and those mitochondria inside each cell and incorporating fasting when appropriate to help improve your housekeeping of getting rid of the dead cells and getting new ones, and liver function we can't forget about, oxidative stress, everything's connected. So when we talk about fasting, when we talk about digestive repair, mitochondria function, liver detox, we kind of have to work on everything all at once. So I do that in my 30-day group program and my individual health coaching program using our health detective methods as an FDN practitioner. We're working on kind of resolving your metabolic chaos with 5 functional labs and clinically correlating all your data from the labs with your main health complaints, areas of opportunity, and your goals and your concerns, and kind of putting the missing pieces of the puzzle together. So fasting might not be the best thing for you right now, but some of you might want to join the Kion Fasting Challenge and really learn how to get off the food addiction. If you listen to my amazing episode the other week with Trisha Nelson of Heal Your Hunger, You might be one of those that are emotional eaters, overeaters, bingers, or have poor relationship with food. In general, that fasting might set you up for negative experience. So those people that have some areas of opportunity to work on their relationship with food, the why are you eating? Is it, something inside? You've got some trauma, some, negative experiences that are causing you to be a food addict or addictive personality or whatever it might be. Not eating might not be the healthiest way to start working on your eating habits. Your emotional healing might be a better way to go than fasting. So talk to Trisha Nelson about that. But the Kion challenge, if you don't have some more specific concerns, you may want to join the free group online program. And it's the second annual, as I said. We did it last year as I'm a Kion coach. So I get all these informational emails they send us, and you can sign up too and get all their daily emails with research and a free ebook on the benefits of fasting and the different types of fasting. So it's a great way to start the new year with, New Year's resolution run. You jump in the lake, jump in the ocean, cold water exposure, and just kind of feel that baptism, that sense of renewal, and start the new year off with a cleanse. So jumping into the cold water, but maybe you need to do a fast that's a liquid fast. Like I did Bonafide Provisions podcast, and we're talking about, just doing liquid fast for 5 days, or maybe it's one day and then having one meal a day, or maybe you're just working on time restricted eating, that you're eating in an 8-hour window, or even work towards a 5-hour window of eating. And then the rest of the time you're fasting 16 hours with water only. So you can look at the different types of fasting in Kion. When you sign up for their free online challenge, it is called a Fasting Decoded. It's a great comprehensive guide to all things fasting. They'll also give you some advice on choosing the right type of fast based on your health goals. And, you got to look at the hormone balances we'll talk about this year as well, talking to hopefully Dr. Stacy Sims, the author of Roar and Women's Hormonal Cycle. You need to kind of match your eating and training with your hormone cycle, and perhaps with the intermittent fasting with your training cycle and hormone cycle as well. So you want to kind of look at the individualization of intermittent fasting and doing a fast, because it's not always more is better. I find some people might fast too much, I think, because they do better not eating at all, but then I don't think you're dealing with why you eat. So that's more that emotions connected to eating. I still want you to do intermittent fasting or do a 3-day water only fast. But I think it's a lot of things that we talk about in the previous podcast with Trisha of Heal Your Hunger that we don't eat, or you're kind of all in or all out. So, fasting is easier because you don't have to think about eating, but I still want you to know how to make a meal when you do have your meal. So if you're doing OMAD 1 meal a day, or if you're doing 2 meals a day, eating in that 8-hour window, you still need to work on eating more protein. Start with protein because that will fill you up, and healthy fats, but limiting your carbohydrates, so having the leafy vegetables, or maybe have some broccoli or cauliflower or Brussels sprouts, but have a small amount. Start eating with protein. Eat slowly, chewing your food, sitting, or just doing one thing, and your one thing is eating and tasting the food. And I think that's a big thing to work on, not just not eating at all, but work on when you eat. You're working on, as we just said, when you're eating, how you're eating, what you're eating, and why are you eating. I don't think many people think about that. So even if you are fasting and you have your intermittent fast and then you do eat, make sure that meal is low carb, keto, not with your food sensitivity, your reactive foods that we test in my health detective program with the MRT labs, with metabolic typing. So you know which foods are good for your body based on your metabolic typing, your genetics, and your gut biome. But also sit, breathe, chill out. Chew your food. So many people eat so fast that I know they're inhaling their food and they're taking another bite before they're even done chewing. So if that's you, you can try the old school method of fork down. Don't put your next bite on your fork until you're done chewing. So put your fork down, chew your food 20, 30 times, swallow, let it digest a little bit, and then when you're ready, take the next bite. Instead, people are eating way too fast, not chewing their food. So you're having digestive issues from the very beginning. And then we're eating, multitasking, and stressing out, probably doing too much at once, and you're not even in the digestive process of parasympathetic nervous system. So, it's not just eating your low carb, eating your carnivore, keto foods, whatever you're doing that feels good for you. You got to balance your blood sugar and eat real food, not all this dirty keto crappy stuff that just gives you your 50 grams of carbs a day max, and you're eating highly chemical foods, overloading your liver and causing inflammation in your body, but you're keeping your carbs down. I'm going off, but there's a lot to think about. So with fasting, it's an important part of fasting. The daily tips, tools, and tactics that you'll get from Kion are really helpful. If you do want more individualized coaching, you can join my group program for 10 to 20 people. Ben will be giving them this great information out for the whole 5-day program online. And so you'll see, thousands of people in this group. It's pretty cool. We did it last year. And it's beneficial. It's a great way to start the new year. I just think dieting is the wrong thing, but taking out foods that you react to, your inflammatory foods, foods that make you overeat, which are, too many carbohydrates for myself. I tend to do best eating a higher protein diet, but as I've said a few times, and I had it happen again last night, if I know I need more protein, and my acupuncturist and Chinese medicine, they go with a blood type, I'm type O diet. With my metabolic typing, I do better with more protein, and I do feel full and satisfied. But if I eat meat, especially red meat that I haven't had for 30 years, I started just adding it in this year. If I don't have at least 10 HCl betaine in called Hydrozyme, I get through Biotics company for practitioners. If I don't have at least 10 of those tablets, acidity of my stomach needs to be higher so I can break that food down, that protein. I get nauseous and feel sick, and it happened last night again because I didn't take my supplements with me, my purse, to a Christmas party, and I was sick all night and couldn't sleep. So my friend said, well, why are you eating protein? Well, it's complicated. I feel better when I properly digest protein, and I'm full and satisfied for hours, and I have energy, and I'm getting the iron and the B vitamins, and my mitochondria are probably happier because my workouts are better. But I have to have digestive support, or else I'm paying for it. So yes, it's probably better not to have protein for me. Animal protein's hard to digest. So if you're like me and you start adding a lot more protein into it, you might want to look at the K-PEX supplement I've promoted. And if you need more specific HCl supplement, there's ones I would not buy anything in the stores. I would just buy them through a practitioner, as I get mine through Biotics or Biomatrix. So there's other companies that you want high quality HCl and digestive enzymes. So anyways, with the fasting, it's really important to know, how to stay busy, not do fasting that you're just sitting at home all day, because then you'll want to eat. I usually automatically fast without intentions when I have a busier day that it's easier not to eat. So it just happens to be a fast without intention. So you've probably heard a lot of the benefits of fasting, but you can get this handout that they put together at Kion, Ben Greenfield's company. There's so many benefits. So let's just touch on a few of them. Improved body composition. Fasting for 12 hours or more has shown to improve fat oxidation and fat burning. Fasting has also been shown to increase the body secretion of human growth hormone, which aids in preserving muscle and burning body fat. You also will feel more energy. They've shown that in research that mammals tend to get to be more active when they're hungry and sedentary as when fed. So a counterintuitive method to have more energy, as you might feel this when you're fasting. You think you're going to be tired and lethargic, but you may feel or experience more energy than you would if you were eating the standard American diet and eating 3 meals and snacks a day. So your energy levels tend to increase during extended fast due to a rise in the hormone adrenaline. Humans have likely evolved this mechanism as a way to give the body a boost to go for hunting down food when they need to get food for their family. So they went hunting, they had adrenaline to give them as fuel. So a lot of this research you'll hear on hormesis, on hormetic stressors to strengthen your mitochondria, the resiliency, and get more mitochondria, includes fasting. And you think about how it's more ancestral health background, that people didn't have food available to them 24/7 as we do. Same thing, if you go back to what we've talked about, cold therapy and heat therapy, our bodies were trained to have to heat itself up when it was too cold out or too hot. It'd have to cool it down. So instead, we just always are comfortable, because if we're cold, we put more clothes on or put the heater on. If we're too hot, we put the air conditioner on. Same with fasting. If there's food around, we eat all the time. So you end up, reading the circadian code and the circadian rhythm of all of our organs. Our body functions or have a circadian clock, and you can read Dr. Satchin Panda's book on that. It's fascinating, but it really makes sense when you look at getting this fasting, time-restricted eating system working for you, and your body just starts to work better. So another benefit they talk about in the Kion decoding book is appetite regulation. So the hunger hormone, I always think growling, is ghrelin. So spelled, I always think it looks like gremlins back in the old movie Gremlins, but the growling of your stomach is the hunger hormone ghrelin, and it's responsible for making us want to destroy that bag of greasy potato chips. Leptin, on the other hand, is a hormone responsible for telling us that we are satiated. We're full, comfortable, we don't need to eat anymore. So that's leptin. So we have these two hunger hormones in our fat cells, leptin and ghrelin. So balancing these hormones is one of the driving factors behind appetite regulation. Fasting has been shown to regulate ghrelin, which allows leptin to normalize and the appetite to balance out. So Ben says in this article, I assume Ben wrote this or his Kion team, females may not experience this benefit of fasting as much as males do. So we'll talk more with Dr. Stacy Sims on the hormone cycles of women. That's the difference of fasting with the leptin and ghrelin is one of the issues. So gut health is another benefit of fasting, of course. Fasting can protect the gut against negative impacts of stress and can lead to increased microbial diversity and elevated rates of fermentation, so making your gut and immune system stronger. We also have the immune system, which is 75-80% in your gut, but they've shown in mouse models that have promising results for autoimmune conditions, specifically multiple sclerosis and type 1 diabetes. It's hypothesized that fasting prompts the body to remove and replace damaged cells, as well as stimulate regeneration of damaged tissues. Brain health is another benefit, and I just was reading a great article and webinar with Ari Witten of the Energy Blueprint to talk about gut health and brain health and how that's related to chronic fatigue and how chronic fatigue is related to mitochondria function, or looking more deeper into the role of mitochondria, that they have energy mode or cell defense mode. So I am going to, as I said, talk a lot more about that coming up soon. but that's also related to brain health. So just as your gut has a lining, a barrier around it, that if it's broken, we call it leaky gut, your brain also has a barrier around it to keep things out of it and let certain things get in it that we need to function at optimal level and have good brain health. And so fasting, periods of fasting can induce autophagy in your neurons, thus protecting nerve cells from degeneration. It also increases secretion of the brain hormone BDNF, which aids the growth of new nerve cells and the formation of new neural pathways that can improve your brain function as a whole, and really working specifically on improved memory and learning. Also, fasting helps heart health. They say that fasting has been shown to improve a number of blood lipid markers indicative of heart health, including blood pressure, cholesterol, blood sugar, insulin sensitivity, and triglycerides. Also, fasting improves longevity and disease prevention. So we'll talk about this again with Ari Witten, hopefully in the future. But autophagy is a repair process in which cells cleanse and repair themselves by removing old and damaged proteins and replacing them with new ones. This process has been associated with anti-aging, longevity, and improved metabolic health, and has become accelerated during periods of fasting. Go back and listen to my interview with Sim Land of Metabolic Autophagy. His huge book is an amazing resource, a collection of tons of research all into one huge 500-page book, more of a manual, but he talks a lot about autophagy. And Ari Witten talks a lot about fasting for mitochondria type of autophagy to get rid of the dead cells. So think, we need to bring in new ones. We got to get rid of the old ones first. So we want to remove the old and damaged cells, and that's going to help us with longevity. So the biggest benefit, I think, is from fasting is not just getting the ketones to be released and use fat for fuel and fuel your brain with ketones when you fast, but the cell autophagy from the longer fasting, 16 to 72 hours, is a great way to clean out the dead cells. So again, it's anti-aging, longevity, and metabolic health improvements, and accelerated during periods of fasting to help this cell autophagy. So it's really important for the aging to keep that anti-aging to keep our cells young, healthy, and functionally at optimal level, of course. So lastly, improved self-control and willpower is gained by fasting. So they say that fasting by nature is an extreme exercise in willpower. You are consciously choosing not to give in to a deep physical desire to eat. Frequently, practicing this type of self-control through fasting can translate into other areas of life, improving self-discipline and your ability to withstand temptations, distractions that derail us from focusing on what matters in our lives. So I would agree. I think, fasting, it teaches you how you really are eating when you're not even hungry. It teaches you that we have this myth that we need to eat 3 meals a day and have to wake up to have breakfast, which really, we want to wait to eat breakfast to break our fast with something like a bone broth to help get your body transitioning back into eating whole foods. But we need to learn that you don't have to eat so much. We're so trained, and we were raised to eat everything off our plate. We were raised to wake up and eat breakfast to get our metabolism going. We were taught to have a snack so you don't overeat by lunchtime. Well, what if you start to eat when you're hungry and focus on eating when you're starting to get hungry, not starving that you binge, but eating when you feel hungry, not by 9 a.m., 12 p.m., and eating dinner at 6 p.m. It's really amazing how we get so stuck into time of day. But Dr. Satchin Panda, who I said wrote the 2 books you should read, Dr. Satchin Panda and Dr. Jason Fung. I read those books a year ago, and I bring them up often in the podcast. there are 2 books you must read to learn about the benefits of fasting. And then you can work towards Sim Land's Metabolic Autophagy. It's a lot bigger, but he brings in the research studies from Dr. Panda on circadian rhythm and how we have circadian clock for our organs and our hormones, and everything kind of is pretty amazing what the body does and how it has its own timing of everything. And so Dr. Satchin Panda, he's the one that researches all that and the time restricted eating, and how anything from water will break a fast because the liver must metabolize it. So all the questions people ask about fasting of especially, 5-day fast. Can I have this? Can I have supplements? Can I have coffee? Can I eat this? What actually breaks a fast? Well, technically anything but water, and you have to have sea salt and some electrolytes or mineral sea salt, Himalayan sea salt is what I would have. But a real fast might be too much for people, but a water only fast is what a real fast is. And then Dr. Jason Fung has done tons of research and has great support groups on Facebook and has amazing books out on fasting, and for type 2 diabetes is kind of more their research. But you can learn a lot in the Kion manual here once you sign up for the fasting challenge. And then if you want to do my coaching program on top of this, we'll go into not eating 3 hours before bed and getting our sleep and sleep hacks that we can do in the evening to maximize the sleep, because that's when your body's going to heal and recover the most. And then we'll work on just getting more movement, getting exposure to sunlight, grounding, and what to eat when you do have your meal. That's what we do in my 5-day Jumpstart program. Light exercise that week, and then we'll add on a little bit more interval training through the month. But the 5-day detox is phase 1 of my 30-day program. And that's $97 for the 5 days of coaching with me one-on-one, with 10 people to 20 people maximum. So we kind of go into this fasting, but also working on the other elements of the holistic method. So getting out, getting walking, and the sleep and the stress are really important, because you don't want to be fasting and making it stressful. We want to kind of working on how we can feel more energy and more happiness and more play and joy, smiling, laughing, humming, singing, working on that vagal tone and getting those mitochondria creating energy and not being stuck in cell defense mode because of chronic stressors inside and outside. So that's what I am doing in January as well. So get the Kion challenge, sign up for that, and then you can have different options. Intermittent fasting is fasting 12 to 22 hours. So you kind of stop eating. Maybe your final meal is Sunday night at 4:00, and then you don't eat until the next day at 4:00. That's something you can do for a longer fast, or maybe start with always 12 hours is the best way when you're a beginner. A 12 to 14 hour fast, intermediate fasting 16 to 18 hours. So that leaves you with the 8 to 6 hour window, eating 2 meals in that period. Advanced is having a 20 to 22 hour window of fasting, and then you eat 1 meal a day, the OMAD, in a 2 to 4 hour window. So it depends on the person. Again, it's not best to diet when you're eating your meal. It's not a diet. It's eating more keto, low carb is best for most people, balancing their blood sugar, not eating crap and think you can eat, whatever you want when you have your eating window. I think a lot of people make that mistake, or they eat too much or they don't eat enough. So you got to eat, good heavy protein meal with some fat and some leafy vegetables. That'd be great. But don't do a little diet-sized plate and have like a half a grass-fed burger and 2 pieces of broccoli. A lot of people eat too little or eat too much. So again, it's that Goldilocks effect of what to eat and how much to eat. Other fasting methods are the calorie liquid fast. So that's a low calorie, as I do often with my 5-day people, is give them an option to do a bone broth fast. Fatty coffee, eating green juice that we do without fruit. And then we can add, I like athletic greens and then bona fide provisions. So we do that. And then a keto feast from Dr. Axe's company, Ancient Nutrition. So we do more of a liquid fast. So that's something I do in my 5-day jumpstart as well, as what Ben's talking about here in the Kion challenge. So that type of fasting can be done safely 24 hours or 3 to 5 days. So that's something more of what I do in my 5-day program, using the bone broth and coffee. Maybe put some MCT oil and collagen in there, and the benefit of, on the microbiome and giving your digestive system and your liver a little bit more of a vacation, so you're not having to break down solid foods. So it just is a little bit easier on your gut health and your digestion system. But not having fruit. A lot of people do these fruit juice smoothies and have too much fructose. So we don't want to balance or have imbalance of our blood sugar. So don't get sucked into those juice bar places that I used to think was good, having 3-day, 5-day juice fast, because you're not getting the proteins that you need for the phase 1 or specifically phase 2 detox pathways. So if you're trying to do a liver detox, having fruit sugar isn't what you need. You need the amino acids from the bone broth. So that's something we do in my 5-day jumpstart. You can do it on your own, part of the Kion program, and see how you feel. But having green juice, I like athletic greens, as I said, but putting maybe an avocado with it might be good to make it creamier, and experiment with a little more fats if you're not feeling full and satisfied. The last type of fasting we'll talk about is a non-calorie liquid fast. So this is going to be more advanced, someone that's not too much stress in their body. I think you got to be careful on that, but it's autophagy and cellular health is going to be more of a water only fast. So you can do water, black coffee, or herbal tea. And some people can do this fast for longer periods of time, but the polyphenol rich beverages of coffee and green tea may actually enhance some of the benefits of fasting and make it easier for people that do coffee, especially if it's organic coffee as Kion or bulletproof coffee, or getting some organic non-moldy type of coffee. Especially don't buy ground coffee, that's more high mold. Do not use those Keurig cups. Those are very high mold and horrible tasting anyways. But getting French press, ground your own coffee beans and make your own real good coffee, make it fresh, it will taste much better. So autophagy, they say in the manual here, kicks in between 12 and 16 hours into your fast. And that's why you want to do at least 12 hours. And it's slowed down by the intake of calories. So when you start taking in calories, even as, the bone broth, that you might stop the autophagy. So longer fasts with 0 calorie intake enhances the autophagic process and provides your cells with more time to regenerate and optimize their function. So you can have some water with electrolytes, a really important part, because a lot of people get headaches and they just get dehydrated. Really, I get real salt put in my water. I keep a bottle of salt in my bathroom by my sink, and then I also keep one in the kitchen. So when I'm refilling our water bottles and putting them in the fridge so we can grab them, they have real salt or sea salt in them. So especially when you're doing sweating in a sauna, you really want to get more minerals. I also need to order myself the ancient mineral drops and put those in water. But getting the Himalayan sea salt or real salt is really good, or keto chow has salts in it. So the last thing, the trace minerals, really keeps you hydrated so you can keep going on a fast. And I would say get this book. It's 52 pages long that you'll get from Kion when you register for their Kion Fasting Decoded. And you can join the challenge. Just find their Get Kion website. It'll be January 6th to January 10th. And I will have my 5-day jumpstart seminar that I do with people that sign up for my program on Friday, January 3rd. And then we'll start Sunday night, the January 5th, with our fasting by stopping eating by 5 o'clock Sunday night, 5 p.m. And then we'll start our 5-day intermittent fasting Monday, January 6th until Friday. And then we transition, if you continue, to phase 2, having more 2 meals a day on the weekend and work towards low carb, high fat, or your metabolic type, and then go to sugar detox and getting rid of the inflammatory foods after our 5-day Jumpstart detox program. So phase 2 will work on more the digestive repair and reset, and work on training the body to get fat for main fuel. And over the 4 to 6 weeks, when you do this, you're training your body to be fat adapted, and you're training your body to be metabolically flexible. And we've talked a lot about that on the podcast. And really important part of this process of going into a fast, doing low carb, is being able to burn fat. And then if you need to get some carbs in, you overeat carbs maybe somehow, somewhere, and then you can switch back to a fat adaptation pretty easily when you're metabolically flexible. So a simple practice of fasting can help you lose your brain fog. It can get rid of this energy issues, digestive issues, body fat. You just feel like you have extra rolls on you. That's what we do in my coaching program. You can do the Get Kion Fast 5-day fast for free if you want to learn more about my 10 to 20 people group program that's online. Let me know. Go to debbiepotts.net and we'll start signing people up for the 30-day program, or you can just start with the 5-day program. So I just have 10 people because I help everyone every day, and then we have live coaching calls 2 days a week. And if you have more individual health needs and goals and stuff going on, then I would suggest you do my 90-day, 3 months, 90 days health rebuilding program, as I work as a FDN practitioner doing my health rebuilding protocols with you, help identifying the missing pieces of your puzzle to optimize your health from the inside out. So that is the first part of fasting. We can go more next time about the health benefits of fasting, the common myths of fasting. There's lots on getkion.com. If you go to the blog, I would take advantage of this free program and look at their supplements too. I get their coffee auto ship every month, the organic Kion coffee, and their aminos are really great to have too. So you can click on the categories. Recovery is where the muscle flex and the aminos that I take are on there. And then you can look at the Kion bundle that they have, but usually stuff should go on sale. But get your New Year's resolutions, start off right, post-holiday, little liver detox, digestion repair, start the cell autophagy, cleaning the dead cells out, and start fresh in the new year. So maybe we start January 1st with a little jump into the cold water. There's a New Year's resolution run probably in your town, where we have one in Seattle that we have to cross. Before you cross the finish line, we have to jump into the Lake Washington, submerge our head underneath the water before you can get out and cross the finish line. So I'll be doing that January 1st since I'm in town. Okay, if you have any questions, head to debbiepotts.net. I will respond to you. So let me know what questions you have, suggestions, and anything else you want to see in the next year. All right, guys, I want you to smile, laugh, and go get some fresh air, get outside. All right, bye.
Thanks for listening to the Whole Athlete Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, or topic suggestions, let us know on Facebook or at wholeathletepodcast.com. You can help us continue and grow by leaving a review on iTunes. Thanks again, and see you next time.